Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Konveyor community call for January 29th, 2026. I'm Dylan Murray, be the host. Um, just get right into the agenda. I don't see anyone new on the list, so we'll skip over that step. Let's just jump into some demos and knowledge sharing, but please remember just to add your name to the attendee list. I'll stick that in the chat as well and pin it. Okay, that's done. If you have anything else that you want to demonstrate here, please just go ahead and add it. We've got plenty of time. So, Scott, are you willing to go first? You all set?
I am all set.
All right, I will throw the screen over to you.
Cool. Oh, entire screen. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what is available and the new stuff from Central Config on the UI. So the main thing here is the analysis wizard has this new little use analyze profile box. On my system, I went ahead and deleted all the profiles so you can see the empty state, but the wizard adjusts based on if you're going to go through the normal manual selection or use a profile. So the whole idea there is we can have profiles that collect all of the data that's in this wizard, the manual wizard, save it, and then be able to reference it so you can repeat easily everything in future without having to remember exactly what you clicked. So going through the main wizard, we can obviously pick all of these things. If we pick a source and dependencies, let's go with that. Go through the normal work of picking a couple of targets. One of these targets that has its own label where you have to choose one of the labels. So we want to go to JDK 21, not 11, 17, and 21, that kind of thing. Oh, I unclicked it. Oh, I don't care. Let's just do that one. Okay. So scope is as it was. Then we could add custom rules. I'm not going to do that right now. Same thing with the repository. This advanced options screen looks different than it did before. It's going to show you the labels that exist for each target, allow you to pick new labels. This is mostly a static list, but we have a nice source for that. It's easy to update as needed. Same thing with the source. And if we want to exclude one just like normal, we add that. We also have this ability to take this wizard setting and save it as a new analysis profile, which is kind of nice because we already went through and, well, might as well save it. So this will go off and run and do its own thing for a little while. If we go back over to our analysis profile screen, there's the demo profile. I can click on the drawer. This gives you a low-level view of the data for the profile. Right? Some of this stuff is going to be updated shortly to look more like the wizard data. So with these things, it shows what the targets are selected, what some of the extra run labels and the excluded labels are. So over here, we can also edit a profile, and this should look exactly like what we just looked like in the analysis wizard, except we're editing a profile. So we go through, everything is how it is, and we save it. It's saved. We can go through, create a new one, pick this, pick a few of those, and we can add some rules. I'm going to drag them from off screen, drop them on. Oh, one of my rules is bad. Rule files has a bad YAML. So I'll just drop that and we can add those in. Now, This works the same way it has, where we have the rule files that we've uploaded manually, shows the number of rules and a little bit of the targets that we have. The advanced labels page does show all the labels that are coming from the different targets. So the manual custom rules, all those show up there. And same thing for the source labels. So we know, okay, those all match. That's expected as source of the labels. When we create it, there it is. You can see the uploaded rule files. You can see a lot of the things. We go back to go and look at analysis. Now we should have 2 profiles to be able to select from. And the reason why I can select from these is because I'm not running authenticated. So every profile that's available on the system will be visible here. So right now we have these 2 profiles we can pick. I'll just pick the demo 2 one because it's fancier. Again, we picked just the basic options for that. And I can run an analysis for Bookser app. And if we look at the data, this tells the add-on what to run for the profile. And it's saying, okay, for the application that we're going to analyze, we're going to send this in the profile 29, and we want it to auto tag. That gets converted down, and when it runs the analyzer in the pod behind, that expands it out to the full settings as it runs. So pretty straightforward. We can see that. Pretty sure that if we scroll down, yeah, we can see that expands out to much bigger. And then at the bottom, you can see the analyzer run with all of the actual runtimes that gets generated from that. So that's where you can see that. So we got those profiles that we can create and manage from the analysis profiles page. That's new. In the inventory, it's probably just not working because it doesn't have source code associated with that application. So basic app is still running. That's working. When we analyze stuff, it's already running. That's why it's not happy. Then we can pick from the profiles. The other 2 things that exist is if you have an archetype, you can go to these target profile things. This one has a bunch of target profiles, and a bunch of them have generators associated to it for the asset generation part of the application. When we create a new target profile, it only needs a name, and we can create it. And then when we edit it, if you care about the asset generation, then we can put generators in. If you don't, then we just pick the profile to select to this target profile. So now Foo1 has an analysis profile demo 2. And if I go to so that's this one, if I look for my criteria tags and I go over and select this guy and I manual tag that, now this guy should have an archetype. So it has an archetype associated to it now. So if you are a migrator role, when you go to analyze and use analysis profile, you will only see demo 2 because that is the only analysis profile that is associated to a target profile out of one of the archetypes attached to your application. It's a couple jumps, but it makes sense because applications get categorized to an archetype, and the archetypes are like a bundle of things to do work to migrate to migrate a kind of application to a new target. And those target profiles allow you to set what those are going to be. Okay, so we do the target profiles, and we could have generators, and we could have analysis profiles on the targets. So if we looked at and grab the item ID of that guy, and we'll try this real quick. Yeah. One. If I could type correctly, that would be super great. Hub slash 33. So there's my application that I associated to an archetype. And showing you guys this, I grab the right endpoint and say analysis profiles. Then I should get the profiles that are available that are tagged to this application. So I believe the IDE is using an endpoint like this to say, okay, well, for application 33 I'm working with, I can grab the profiles there. So if I go back to my archetype and I delete this target profile, so all of these, it should say demo profile by itself. And if I go, then I should only have demo profile. So that proves that on the wizard, when you're a migrator and you only have access to profiles that are associated through the archetype, through a target profile archetype, that will show just that demo profile that's available. Someone's decided that should be available for your application through the archetype. So that's that one. The very last bit is custom migration targets are now available on the migration perspective. And if you have permissions, you can create and change these. If you don't, you can just see that they exist. So that's one way to do that. And check notes that I forgot to write down. I'm pretty sure that covers everything around analysis profiles for the central config. Does anyone have some questions? Or is that sufficiently confusing or sufficiently concise that everything works?
No, I think that's great. I know that was exhaustive, but mainly that's because the UI is the central component where all these other things are derived from. So I appreciate you going in depth there. Yeah. Questions for Scott? Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. Moving on next. Mayan, are you ready to go with demonstrating C# support?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am Mayan, and I'm excited to show you a C# analysis run to the UI. So the big improvements here is in previous Konveyor versions, we already had the C# analysis support, but it had a requirement to run on Windows machine. And in this version, the C# provider was updated so that it could run on Linux containers, thanks to Sean. So that means that we could use Konveyor Hub to run the analysis. And I will show you a really quick demo. Yes. So everything you need to do is to create a migration target using the C# provider. Upload a role file or use a repository. Here I have a C# application, just the same as everything. Check the target you just created. And that's it, it's running. And here it's found the 3 incidents. That's all for me.
Awesome, thank you. It's worth calling out too, like when we had support for this in the past, we only had it in the CLI because the analysis required us to run this on like Windows machines. So all this work is thanks to the fact that we've completely refactored the C# provider. And by we, I mean Sean. So good work, Sean. The UI work on top that mine contributed was actually really simple just because now this works in Linux containers. So really, really good stuff. Again, this is going to be a big change for 09. So thanks for showing that off, Mayan. Questions on the C#?
I just want to call out that this is still tech preview.
Still tech preview. Yeah. Thank you. We're still finding bugs. All right, awesome. Next on the list, I see Merrick with app migration. Merrick, you ready to go?
Yes, let me share my screen.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, I hope you can see it. So, yeah, I wanted to give some heads up or some basic information on what is going part of our team working on, and that's application migration, focusing on Kubernetes workloads. Oh, no, yeah. So what we want to do, or we are doing, it's that we focus on migrate Kubernetes workloads between clusters. This is in a way that is designed to be composable, transparent, and generally should be focusing on application owners. So there is like no aim to do some cluster admins or full cluster evacuations or something. Really, just the one who deploys application should be able to take it somewhere else. It focuses on the stateless things, meaning YAMLs deployments, replica sets, etc., as well as stateful, which means direct persistent volume claims data migration between clusters. As this wants to migrate already modernized or modern applications which are running on Kubernetes, this is some kind of addition to Konveyor scope, which is generally to modernize applications. So now we have modernized applications and wants to migrate them. Some key principles we focus on that the tool should be non-destructive, meaning we have the source application that needs to be exported, but there shouldn't be any damage or any change on the source cluster unless wanted. Generally, the commands should be idempotent, which means that if it's executed multiple times, it just nothing change if the state is as expected. It should also help with getting GitOps ready, which means that exporting YAML should be able or should help. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't see my. I already changed slide. Just a second, please. Try to share it again. I will just reshare.
All right.
Is it changing?
That looks change the slide real fast.
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, just a second, please. I will do one more attempt. Can you see slides changing?
Yeah. Much better. Thanks.
Awesome. So that was when I finished, hopefully. So it should help with GitOps, meaning exporting YAMLs that could be then imported to some automated CI/CD like Argo, etc. This tool generally should allow some customization or extensibility with plugin system based. If that sounds familiar to you, great. It's something which already exists or have been developed. Now it's more or less in the maintenance mode, and that's called Crane project, which currently live in the MIG Tools organization on GitHub. That tool consists of basically two scenarios how to use it. First one is CLI command, which is called just Crane. It follows some, let's say, Swiss knife approach that is small tool with just does small steps, but does it great, and it's easy to be automated and composed into bigger pieces. General approach here is to take an export from the source cluster, transform data locally, and then apply it to the destination cluster. This also allows to use direct PVC data migration, and it's extensible with plugin system. There is the link for the repository, which currently existing, and it's more or less working on it. It's great, it works. Looking on the right side diagram, you can see that the Crane itself is just CLI tool, but it heavily depends on the Crane lib, which also has maybe some other dependencies, but this is really the backend which does the things, meaning data migration, exporting, etc. The other option, how to run this, how to use Crane to run the migrations, is the kind of in-cluster deployment. So there is the Crane operator, which installs Crane itself. Also Tekton, which is some automation or task execution tool in Kubernetes. It's anyway based on the Crane CLI. However, these CLI commands are built into the Tekton pipelines, and these pipelines are executed with Tekton cluster tasks, which does actual migration. There's also the plugin to OpenShift UI, which should help with us with that, but I'm not sure what is the current compatibility of the plugin. Again, you can find it on GitHub. The project already exists. So that was what is as of now. And now I want to talk like some brief future. What are we going to do? What we want to do? So first, we want to use previous Crane development because there is a great value, or we believe there is great value in what Crane currently does. It has been proven that it works, and it also brings some experience how to write it. So we want to build on top of that. Currently, we are in design phase, so that means that we are gathering requirements, evaluating them, do some kind of planning, and generally like architecture decisions, etc. What we know is that most likely we'll start with some CLI tool, and in-cluster migration will probably come later, but this is anyway subject of discussion. There are many technical details which are still to be defined. We are, as said, in the planning phase. Having said that, there's some working title, which is currently some repository called kubectl migrate. It's just one of the options we are exploring. It's not guaranteed that we will go this way. But only thing I can promise you that we will update in one of the next community calls, which way we chose. But currently there is some experimenting in this way. But probably the main thing I want to ask if there is someone from community or some Crane users or someone who knows someone who used Crane and might give us some feedback, would be great if you can reach us at the Konveyor channel at Kubernetes Slack, or create an issue. Just, hey, I'm there. I, for example, used Crane with something with some use cases, and I'm missing something. That would be very helpful, since we are looking for community input to just right planning and the right decisions, and hopefully great tool then. That's it from me. Any questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Marek. Appreciate you sharing that. Really good overview. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, Fabian. LL emulator overview. And while he loads up, can you guys please just remember to put your name in the attendee list? Because there's 22 people on the call, but the document says we have 6 people. So Let's try to be honest. All right, go ahead, Fabian. Thanks.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. Can you zoom in just like an inch?
Probably.
If not, it's fine. I'm just. Yeah, it's good.
Let's see. How's that?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So I just wanted to show off a little testing tool I created. We were adding some components for like LLM proxying and stuff. And the testing for that is just kind of horrible. Like you can try to cache responses and play them back and stuff, but I never had really good luck with that. So I just built this little tool called LLM Emulator, which basically runs the OpenAI API, but allows you to basically load up responses into it. So I'm just going to show some examples of how to use it, and then some examples of how to write tests for it. So I have it running now on port 8080. This is how you load it up. You see I pass an authorization token in there. The authorization tokens basically are used to isolate clients. So if you have multiple clients talking to the LLM emulator, the responses will be played back based off of the bearer token they're authenticating with, which is just the OpenAI API key that gets loaded in as a bearer token. You can have multiple clients all talking simultaneously, loading responses and stuff, and they won't ever conflict so long as you use different tokens. So here's just an example of how you load it up. So this is just a list of responses, which will then be played back in order. So if I show you an example, I'll use the actual OpenAI Python library just to show that it's using the real API properly. So here we create a client that uses that same test token that we used to load the responses. And then we ask for the responses back. And we get back the 3 responses that we loaded up. I also then wanted to expand it a little bit so that if you don't know the exact sequence of responses you'll get, but you know sort of the requests that are coming in, then you can load it up based on a pattern here. So here you can see a couple different patterns. We're looking for errors. We're looking for success, various messages there. So we can load all those up. You can see I'm using a different API key there, so it won't use the responses from the first load. And there you can see we got responses back that correspond to the patterns that we loaded up. And just to prove that part works, we'll just set up a couple different users, all use their own API key. And then we can run these tests currently. And you can see that each user's response will line up to the user that was actually created, no matter what order those responses are running. So that's basically it. It's just a helpful little tool that you can incorporate into testing your LLMs without having to try to record responses. You can just instead manually create the minimal set of responses that you need for your application to be able to parse them and perform the logic that you want them to. And we're currently using this tool in testing the LLM proxy in the Konveyor operator. Right now, this project still belongs to me in my namespace. That's actually something I wanted to bring up, if we wanted me to donate this to Konveyor or just leave it there. I don't really know, like, procedure-wise how I want to do it, but I found it really useful for testing LLMs. And so if anyone else in the project wants to use it, feel free. That's basically it.
Very cool. Thank you, Bobby.
Yep.
Yeah, Pranav.
How hard would it be to move the existing end-to-end test offline cached tests in IDE to this?
I mean, hard as in like technically difficult. I think it'd be quite easy. Hard as in like a little bit laborious. You know, you just have to go through the responses and set them to load up. So it would be kind of like an annoying. It would be really easy. It would just be
Okay, so
boring. Yeah.
I was more interested in like technical side of things. Like, does it basically support all of the LangChain message types and like?
Yeah, it should support basically
Okay.
the whole chat API. It does the streaming, like chunking and all that stuff properly.
Okay.
It should support the whole. I mean, it can support the image or audio APIs. Obviously, I didn't bother building that out. But for the chat APIs, it should have full support.
Okay.
And if you go to the repository, I have some conformance tests in there that try to run through
Okay.
stuff with the JavaScript and the Python libraries. So if you want to look at those, and you can see if there are any like things you do missing, and we can, if there's anything
Okay.
missing, it's definitely a bug. But it should fully work. Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Fabian.
Yep.
All right, moving along. Ateshwari, she's going to show off C# running in the IDE extension now, too. If you're ready, Ateshwari, I can turn over to you.
Oh, okay. I guess you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Yes, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of a overview of C# extension and where our Konveyor extension is. So until now, Konveyor is supporting primarily Java extension, but now we have expanded our support to multiple languages, including C#, TypeScript, and Go. So we rebranded original Konveyor extension to an extension pack, so which has Konveyor core and 4 language-specific extensions. Whenever you install any language-specific extension, you are required to install core. Or if you decide to install extension pack, you can still have it. It wouldn't activate all until the specific project is loaded, or the matching project is loaded. So no unnecessary overhead. Now let's talk about the C#. So here I have already installed C#, and it comes with the, as I said, extension core is required. So that is also installed here. Just a little bit, I want to point out one thing, that C# analysis require .NET dependencies. So if you not have installed that in your machine, it will basically give you a notification here as a warning that, hey, these are the things not found and needs to be installed in your machine. And I think it's .NET SDK and other supporting tools that you require. So here I have installed that, and I have Konveyor core and Konveyor C# extension installed. Also, I've opened the application called Nerd Dinner, which is a .NET 4.5 application, and we're trying to analyze and migrate to .NET 5 or above. So as usual, the UI hasn't changed much. So I have created a profile. It's called Nerd Dinner, and these are the targets I have set, and the custom rule path is given. And let's go to the Konveyor analysis view, and I've already started the server. If there is required dependencies are not available, then I think you will have a hard time starting the server. But since I have everything installed, I can run the analysis, and here are the results. And just to point out, since we have Konveyor core and Konveyor C#, you can basically go look at the output channels here. There will be 2 channels. So if there is any problem, you can look for logs here where you can see where it's failing, just in case. And it will be two logs, the Konveyor core and the C# extension. And I'll just try to fix one incident from here. And it will continue to fix here. There is a known bug after this. Once you accept the changes here, it's supposed to rerun the analysis and update this incident number, which is a known bug that we are currently fixing. But yeah, that's the C# extension. Thank you. Any question?
Very cool. Thank you, Ateshwari. Questions? Awesome. Again, this is the first release that we are shipping any support in the extensions for something other than Java. So I think you'll hear in a second that we've tackled more than just C#, which is really exciting. So, all right, great. Thank you for all the demos. Let me get my screen back up. Oh my gosh, where are you? This one. Okay. All right, just real quick. Want to call out the 09 dates. So I linked the community page here. Again, just a reminder, like we are shooting to GA 090 near the end of February. So we're targeting code freeze on the 17th. As far as I know, we're all totally on track on that. I have a link somewhere down below to the actual 09 milestone board. If you're interested in adding work that's to that you find, or just confirm that I'm not missing anything immediately obvious. Any questions on 090? We don't have a date yet set for 010. My intention was to start floating dates out in our Slack channel and get some feedback on it. But I'll get in a second. We are in the open enhancement window for 010. So if there's work that needs to go into 010, you should be getting those enhancements designed, reviewed, and merged as quickly as possible if you're intending to include it in the next version. So that's the only update I got on the roadmap. Any questions on 090? Okay, just want to kind of do a quick review of what we've done in the last 3 weeks. You've obviously seen a bunch of demos related to what these improvements are. I will just quickly kind of go through each section here, and then Jeff, Emily, Fabian, if you guys can add any color that I might have missed. On the inventory management side of things, obviously the majority of the work was finishing the centralized config integration between the Hub API and the UI. That's what Scott was demonstrating earlier, obviously. So that was the majority of the sprint. We've also been really trying to improve all of our testing. You'll see that repeated across all 3 groups. So automation testing for analysis running against the Hub, as well as automation testing running against the Hub APIs as well. So all that's in a good spot. Jeff, can you just quickly describe what this refactored Hub bit is? Because you could probably speak to it way more intelligently than I can. I'll probably butcher it.
So one of the things we noticed was that it's kind of a bit of overdue tech debt, which is that when you import the binding from the Hub, the add-ons do it, and now Contra would do it, and also Concur does it. But basically, because of the way that the Hub packages were laid out, whenever you did a go mod tidy, it dragged in controller runtime and Gin and SQLite and everything, like a huge list of things. And so this refactor basically follows the pattern that has a internal directory, and everything internal to the Hub as a service or a server is in there, and then everything that is expected to be imported from the Hub, whether it be various tools, including the binding and the API specification, the API structures and so forth, all of that gets put into shared. And so all of the add-ons have been changed to import from shared, and same with Concur. And going forward, that will be the way to import. And when you do that, it drags in almost no dependencies, which is fantastic. So that's the gist of that.
Awesome. Thank you. And then obviously, I think bug fixes for 09, everyone's been prioritizing that, accomplishments for the last 3 weeks. So great stuff. Again, this testing, all the work that we're putting into improving testing, I think has been long overdue. We're hoping you'll see in a second, the next 3 weeks, I think we just need to kind of wrap up a lot of this work. So yeah, Jeff, thanks for calling it out. I think that's going to put us in a much better spot for actually doing testing against the hub. On insights discovery side of things, automation for the new features for 09, centralized config work. The concur stuff, which I think we could probably demo this next community call. Sean has put a bunch of work into improving how we do analysis testing across the whole project. So this project Concur is new to Konveyor. I'll go get a link to this after this and link it in the doc if you want to go check it out. We've already identified a bunch of bug fixes to really hammer through, just from the results that we got out of Concur. So, Emily, what other things do you have here?
Besides that, sorry, I'm trying to read. So we do have now asynchronous rule parsing in the analyzer. The rule sets test have been broken for quite a long time. I think they were just copied over from Windup. So Wanma invested a bunch of time getting those all working finally. And then just a bunch of 09 bug fixes.
Awesome. Thanks. And Fabian, can you call out the work you've done for all of the multi-language stuff? And the obviously, again, automation testing is a repeat highlight for all the groups. But can you just speak a little bit to the language we're supporting now in the IDE extension?
Yeah, I mean, we've just had a big push over the last 2 sprints to get really good support for TypeScript. Todd helped drive a lot of that. Focused on providing rules for Patternfly, I think, as our initial rule set. I think those rule sets are now available in the general rule sets repository as well. So there should actually be like a useful set of rules for the TypeScript provider. Sabitha has done a lot of work on the Golang provider and is currently building out like the initial rule set for that. I think right now the rules are sparse if they exist at all, but the core extension's working. And the C# provider, obviously, super important. And also for the first time ever, I think we had the C# provider for a while, but it wasn't tested and it sort of rotted a bit. So I think the biggest improvement is that we have automated tests now for all of these providers so that anyone using them, they should always work, which will be a big improvement. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool, thanks. Any questions about last sprint? Any feedback, comments? Okay. Moving on, again, I just want to call it the latest release. I do intend to cut a beta, I think today, as well as the release 09 branches. I'm waiting on one other thing to land on main because I think it'll be a pain in the butt to cherry pick. But I've linked the Operator Hub release and the Contra release. I cut this 2 days ago, so this is pretty up to date. I'll announce the beta.1 release, hopefully sometime this afternoon. Been putting a bunch of work into fixing the release pipeline, so I think it's going to be a lot faster to get these out in the future. So just calling that out. And then just want to go over the upcoming sprint. I'm not going to go into each project board here, but I wanted to call out the high-level goals. So high-level goals, again, we're in a window of time now where if there is enhancements or features that you're looking to get into 010, now is the time to submit those for review and get the designs moving forward. I have a few links at the bottom that we'll get to. we have to do bug fixing. So again, code freeze is going to be near the end of this sprint, the 17th. The sprint ends on the 20th. So it's going to be a high priority, all high priority bugs for 09 getting addressed. And then again, we really want to finish up this effort that we started last sprint to go all in on getting our automation to a spot that we're super happy with. So just calling out a couple things that I kind of missed about the last 3 weeks. The UI tests, we've done a bunch of work to bring those into the GitHub Action workflow that's running all of the tiers. So we're getting like way more visibility into the main branch, how all of our tests are executing against it before we get a build produced. So we're trying to get to a spot by the end of the sprint where all of our automation test suites are green. And we're getting really good regression coverage on a nightly basis against analysis, API, UI, CLI, all platforms. Like that's really the goal, is at the end of the sprint, we can kind of look back and say, hey, before we had this small set of coverage that's running on nightly against the product, now we've got all of these extra test suites executing nightly, covering all analysis paths possible. So this is really, to me, the top priority, and where I think we're going to spend most of our time. You'll see a lot of tickets on the board related to that. But Jeff, could you give a quick summary, kind of what's going on for you, your group, in the next 3 weeks?
So like I said, we're really focused on automated testing and improving test coverage. We're going to be wrapping up any 09 bugs as they come up. Also in the UI, we've got one outstanding ticket that is related to 09, which is to group and basically group the items on the left side nav page for the application page. Make it kind of, I think, also more consistent with OpenShift. I think that's sort of a pattern we try to match, right, Scott? Anyway, that's pretty much going to be the main thing. And then any 0 to 10 planning that for items that come up, we'll start with that.
Thanks, Jeff. Questions on that? All right, Emily, you go over next 3 weeks from the inside side.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, it will be mostly focusing around the CI testing, the automation. We have currently PRs open in both Contra and the CLI test for Contra for automation for the centralized config work. I don't think they will be merged by tomorrow, so next sprint, I would like to get those in and working. A big thing with the end-to-end testing is getting not automation, auth working, and the hub and a Q cluster for that. So I've been working on that too, so we can use that. And besides that, any blockers for the 09 work that come up, and then adding more of the Concur test into Contra. I think that is pretty much it.
You're muted, John.
Awesome. Sorry. Thanks, Emily. Fabian, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, so the next sprint obviously very much going to be focused on any blockers we have for 09. And then we're also just going to jump on the bugs that aren't high priority enough to be blockers, but we'll definitely one out in the Z stream. Quality of life things, minor bugs, stuff like that. We will look at 010 design work. I'm not sure how many enhancements we'll necessarily have right now. I think looking at sort of the plans right now, there's a lot of stuff that we have that we're kind of like releasing in preview right now, but it is not at sort of like a general availability release quality yet. And over the next few releases, I think we'll be trying to improve the general like quality and releasability of those features. So I think a lot of our 010 work will probably be focused largely on that, but we might have a few enhancements as well. And then we're going to continue automating our test coverage. I think we've gotten a lot done this sprint, but there's still a couple gaps.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions on the work coming up for the next 3 weeks? Okay. I'm going to move into the open enhancements that I think we're looking for some feedback on. We go a little bit out of order here. Why don't we start with this, because Jonah's not here anyway, so I can just quickly raise this. I don't know if anyone's seen this yet, but Jonah opened this last week, and I haven't seen anyone review it yet. I was hoping to start raising this so that folks that are interested can provide some feedback here. He actually has a sample implementation of this work also that he linked. This is all about adding an MCP subcommand for the analyzer, just to make some interesting possible avenues to integrate with MCP clients moving forward for AI like assisted monetization. So again, just calling this out, that looking for feedback and reviews. We're trying to be a lot better and proactive this year with getting feedback on these enhancements and getting them merged quicker. Really do not want to be in the habit of merging these after we've already slated the enhancements for the release, which I think we've been in a bad process in the past about. So I'm just gonna skip kind of right past this one because I don't see Jonah and I don't have the technical background to give some overview on that. Working upwards, Emily, would you just give a quick kind of overview as what the motivation is driving behind the refactoring for Contra and where this design currently stands?
Yep. So the idea behind this refactor is that right now in Contra, there is a lot of logic behind the analyze command. The Contra analyze covers a lot of different functionality. So this would break it up into different subcommands. So a provider command to handle everything to do with discovering or installing providers. A rules command that would do with discovering rules or rule testing. So right now, as I said, it is just to help break it up into subcommands that make more sense for the user and are easier to discover and use.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I think Contra started as a small project and it's kind of ballooning. So I think this is a worthwhile effort for the next release if we can get it reviewed and merged. So again, looking for feedback here. I see some people have already started on this, but if you're interested, provide some feedback. And then this last one is not necessarily an enhancement document yet, but we had a request to adopt some rules changes that the Microsoft AppCat team is using with Contra today. There's a bunch of comments on here. I know Sean has been providing feedback and have a back and forth with Ken. I saw Todd responding to some stuff. I'm really just advocating that people go and read this and provide their own take on this. There's some overlap with some of the changes that their team used in their rule sets with what we currently support. That I think Sean had some really good feedback and questions about what we actually would want to do about it. We did open an issue resulting from this that I think is actually a really good improvement to make, which is this one, I think. The enhancement that Todd started, which is around migration complexity classification. So again, if you haven't seen this one, I only see Ramon's the only person that's really reviewed this. Would love feedback and comments on this because this kind of came out as a part, well, I think it came independently and it's related to that conversation. This is all about trying to like set some type of kind of classification for how difficult it is to fix some of the violations in those rules. And then some of the other requests that came out of it, I think there's still like a few open questions. So I brought up two different things there. I don't know, Sean, Todd, if there's anything else you want to add, any color around that, but I think the main request here is that we need some more people providing feedback on this. It's only kind of been 2 people looking at it. So, and I think these are pretty drastic requests and changes to make in some respect. And some of them I think are small, easy, low-hanging fruit to include. So I'll pause. Was there anything else that Sean, Todd, that I missed you want to add to that, or is that all good?
All good for me.
Okay, awesome. Scott, I see a question. Where's the best recommended place to look at the set of enhancements proposed for 0.10? I think the short answer I can give you is we haven't actually agreed upon the content for 010 yet, which, I mean, if we want to spend a few minutes talking about that, we can. The intention has always been, like, our actual governance doc describes that if an enhancement is merged and approved by maintainers ahead of an enhancement freeze for the next release, and there's a volunteer to work it, that it would get included in the next release. So it's a facto. What I'm saying there is enhancements that have been merged between 0.9 and now, which is 0, because the LLM proxy went into 0.9, which we merged in way too late in the actual process of this, or cycle of this release. Anything that's open here and we merge before the enhancement freeze date that we set for 0.10 is automatically included. So this is like an open window of time that if there's something that you want to include in 0.10, you need to submit an enhancement, get it reviewed and merged on this soon if you really want to get this done in time. I'm really going to be a stickler about the enhancement freeze this time. Every single release, well, the last 2 releases I've said I was going to do that, and I was a little bit better, but we just have not held ourselves accountable to it. Again, I'm not ready to set that date yet on 0.10 unless we want to have that conversation. I'm willing to do that right now. I figured maybe asynchronously in Slack is the best way to handle that. But I would expect that these open enhancements should be included unless there's something preventing us from adopting these things. That requires us to be proactive and get the design process like done right now. And I'm not seeing enough feedback being provided on these enhancements today. So that answer your question, or?
Yeah, that workflow makes sense.
Okay, awesome.
So there's definitely a bunch of things I'll add on to there in the coming weeks. I got like a list of 4 or 5 things to add on.
Okay. Awesome. Well, yeah, please. The milestone should exist too. So I've been so focused on 0.90 that I haven't really started putting together the boards for 0.10. But I'll ensure that the milestone exists with some temporary dates that you can start setting these things to. And then in 3 weeks, I think will probably be a good time to chat about the 0.10 content and make sure we're all agreed upon it.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Awesome. Okay, any questions, comments, concerns on that section before we get into the open discussion? Okay, no one added anything here, so I'll just pause for 30 seconds to see if there's something that anyone would like to bring up, chat with while we're all together. Well, I'm not going to wait for 30 seconds then. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate all of the demonstrations, all the content to go over. I look forward to seeing you all in 3 weeks, and have a good rest of the day. Cheers. Thanks.